Welcome back to Evolve. Today we are with three brothers. They are half Korean, half French, and they have an incredible story traveling through 21 countries over 3 years to come back to their, I don't know if you call it motherland, to connect to their roots. And we're going to hear the incredible story today. So we have Jiyoung, Jiyun, and Jisung.
Right.
Welcome. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for your invitation.
This is amazing. Three brothers on the same podcast. That's a first for us. Do you guys want to give a quick intro before we dive into your story?
Thank you very much for your invitation. It's a really pleasure to be here. And it's our first podcast ever. So we are three brothers. We grew up in France. We are French-Korean. And we decided to do this journey to connect deeper to our roots and to know better our own Korean identity.
So your father...
Yeah, our father is French and our mother is Korean.
Let's start at the beginning then. You guys were born in France?
Yeah, we were born in France, in the city of Mulhouse, in Alsace, nearby Germany. So we grew up all our life in France. But when we were children, every 2 or 3 years, we went to Korea. Sometimes to Jeollanam-do, especially because it's our family region.
How was it to grow up mixed back then? And I'm saying this as a mixed, half Asian as well from Europe, so I know that, we've had other videos about these topics. I'm curious about your experiences.
We grew up actually in some small village, in some valleys in Alsace, so nearby Germany. So in this part of France, there is no much Asian people. There is a few Asian people sometimes, but they are mostly like Vietnamese because of the war, so from adoption. So most often they are not really connected to their roots. So we were feeling really like the only one Asian, in this part of France. So it was quite weird. Fortunately, we have approximately the same age. We are very close each other. So we have a lot of common friends. We were always together. But it was feeling weird because there is either some French people, like mostly Alsatian, like from this part of France, or there is some people with some ethnicity, but mostly Arabic or Turkish. So we were always feeling, like kind of between.
Yeah, between the two, but not really one from... I mean, it's like our community. It was like 3 of us. It was a community of 3 people. And also our father is not even from this region. He's from Normandy. So for Asian people, it's kind of like their mindset is like, even our dad, even if he's white, he was also a foreigner, kind of. So even our dad was a foreigner, but ours were really like from different. So we were a bit more closer, like especially to Turkish people.
We can relate because we grew up in a small village in a very wide area, and we were the Asian guys, so... But I mean, you're the oldest, right, Jiyoung?
Yeah, I am.
How was it for you in that stage? Because I guess that I feel like the oldest has to go through it first, and then maybe it's a bit easier, I guess.
Yeah. I can say like first, our parents, they didn't really understand our situation. I mean, I don't want to blame them, but I'm just telling, like they thought like, you grew up in France, you have French nationality, you have French father, you have French culture, so you're French. And that's it. They didn't really think about like, we don't feel French. And the other people, they don't feel like we are French. For them, you are kind of foreigners. So at the very first place, like when I was maybe 3 years old or 4 years old, I didn't even understand this whole identity things, but I experienced for the first time like racism, like people beating you just because you have like eyes different than them. And it was kind of confusing for me because, our parents tell us like, you French, but then you are in Alsace, that they have a very specific identity.
Yeah.
And also your friends, they are Turkish. But then they say, but also you are not exactly like us because you're not Muslim. So it's kind of a mess. And I think by the years, it became also something that you're very passionate about, like the religions, and the ethnicities, the different cultures, and we slowly learn how to live with all of this, to have like French friends, Alsatian friends, Turkish friends, like to have a foot in every different communities. But like about the firstborn thing, I think also we don't have a very big difference of age. So it's kind of, I couldn't really be the older brother that understood the thing and can kind of teach my brothers. It was more like I struggled and they struggled and we just kind of struggled together,
Yeah,
to
I
be
think
honest.
the difficult part was like we were feeling like we don't really have like a model, like some older guys we can identify to. Like we were feeling really different than everybody else. And it's this kind of feeling, probably you have the same, like you feel always foreigner wherever you go. So sometimes there is some place you really feel home, but somehow it will never be really your home. You know what I mean? And usually, like the migrants, especially like the Korean immigration, when they come to France, they come for Paris or for like very like cliche French culture. That was very different for our mom. She came to Strasbourg, and after we live in the remote village and in the forest, and like there is not so much people, so it was like even our mom compared like to other Korean and their relationship with France, it was very, very different. So we didn't grow up with our like Korean community. And I say like compared to other communities in France, like Turkish or like Algerian people, they are like more strong together. But like Korean people, there is not such thing as really like a Korean community, and we don't really feel very close to each other. Especially also with Asian or mom generation, it was like Chinese, Vietnamese, Korean, they are not the same. And they don't feel like part of like the yellow Asian community or something. There is no such ideas. For us, it was more the case like to be like we felt really like Asian or French. We didn't really feel like French, but like French Asian or something like that. Yeah.
You all mentioned some deep points about how, as you got older, you can learn to appreciate and live with all of those things. But there's a theme with a lot of mixed people, including me. When you're young, it's difficult.
Yeah, right,
it
right.
is.
So before we, I guess, move on to the rest of the story, are there any particular moments, hard times, good times through childhood you want to share?
I think we had a very beautiful childhood. Like we suffered a lot from the racism,
Right.
but still our parents, they gave us a very good place to grow up. Like our village was very cool, and also we grew up nearby the forest. So that was a good point to have always, like every day, the nature. I remember when we went to build some, how do you say in English? Like
Wooden house.
yeah,
or
wooden
something.
houses
I
in the
don't know, say
forest.
log cabin. Or...
Yeah, so for us also, when we think about the Koyang in English, what is it?
Motherland.
Motherland, like hometown. We think especially not about the village, but about the forest, about the mountain first, that we grew up at the feet of the mountain. So for us, when we think about like Alsace, our region, we especially think about the forest, about the nature over there.
But I think it plays a lot of difference with many migrants, because like all our Turkish or Maghreban friends, they didn't really go to the forest. They stay like outside, but they didn't really have like the connection with the nature. So even in this part, we were like a bit different. So I think it plays a lot of on our relationship between brothers, because we had like the same experience, but only three of us. So as I say, it was like community of three people, kind of.
It's a deep one because I grew up close to the sea. There's like really beautiful nature there. But so when I think of home, it's like there's family there. So you love that. There's beautiful nature there. You love that. But then you can't always, it's hard to not separate between those, being called the bad words by people, go back to where you're from. And like, it's all kind of mixed together. And it's tough to separate the good and the bad sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
Any other like particular things you want to share from the early days before moving on?
I think when you are mixed, one very difficult time is when you are a teenager, because your body change a lot, and sometimes you can feel like, for example, sometimes we felt more French, sometimes we felt more Korean, depends of the chapter of the life. And I mean, even sometimes there is some frustration, like um, for example, with some girls, they really like the French guy, but you are not enough French. Some other girls that like the Korean guy, but you are not enough Korean. You know what I mean? So sometimes it feels like crazy, like, you know?
Even looking at all three of you, I probably would guess different countries for each of you when I see you. It's the same with my family as well. But I guess, yeah, as a teenager, like maybe when you're kids, everyone's playing football, it might not be a big deal. But then you said, like with your Turkish friends, there's certain differences, right? They become more like clearer as you get older. So how was the teenage years for you guys then?
In France, there is kind of two models, let's say, like the French model or let's say like the migrant model. But even in the migrant model, especially when you start to be like 10, 11, kind of all the migrants, they start to go to the Quranic school. So they start to also make a difference like between the Muslim ones and the no-Muslim ones. So it's not even like in Turkey itself, because in Turkey there is even more tolerance between the no-Muslims. But when you are part of the diaspora, you are kind of maybe more, into the nationalism or into the patriotism or into the, kind of very rigid model. So they also start to, I would not say like maybe reject, but kind of make the difference. Like, you're not a Muslim, so you are not like us. So also we felt more that we are in this situation of a lack of model. So it was kind of weird for us in the teenager age to not have a big brother or a big sister or a big one that we can look at. And that's why I think we were kind of lost for some years, just thinking a lot of who are we. And even when we went to Korea, the people, they even didn't see us like Korean. They were asking like, 혹시 미국 사람이에요? Like, are you American? So yeah, for some years, we were kind of just confused, I think.
In a country where there is like tension, I feel like if someone is like racist to you, people often go like two ways. They either like, let's say they want to hide anything to do with their Korean or Asian side or Pakistani side, and they just want to try and fit in with the whites or the majority as much as they can. Or, and I'm sure a lot of the Maghreban, the Turkish people, like they become super defensive and super proud. And, then you say anything about my country, come on, even though they've never been to that country maybe, or they've been there for 2 weeks, in their whole life, they're so proud about it because it's like a defense, right?
We kind of became a bit like that. Like we had a part of the teenager time that we were really proud to be Korean. But the thing is, like in France, especially in Alsace, some people just didn't know what is Korea. Back at the time, it wasn't famous. So it was like, we kind of had to explain, but we are from a country between China and Japan. And it's quite weird also. We always liked this kind of, solidarity and this kind of community. They are very strong. And for example, the Arabic guys, they have a lot of Arabic guys as well, or like some cousin or some people they look like they have same roots, or the Turkish guy, same. So for us also, I think we always wanted to have like some strong community, some like, Asian friends, some Korean friends especially, but they were not Korean at all at this place. So we were always wanted to have some Asian friends, I think.
What was your connection like to Korea? I guess that was mostly through your mother. Yeah, you mentioned your mother. I'm also thinking like you guys had you three there together as like the mixed brothers. But then for your mom, like to be in this completely, French environment from a different place, that must have had its challenges. Like how much Koreanness did she instill with you guys?
It's funny, but I say it was more easy for mom, and she never really felt the pressure of racism or something, or she maybe she didn't see or she didn't like really felt it as much as we did, because I think maybe because it was in our childhood and teenagers that it was like more difficult. So she already like has like our dad and like a situation, and for her she was more accepted in a way, and she was more willing, like peaceful in herself, and she didn't really miss Korea that much. But I say like our relationship with Korea, it was we really felt more Korean than French, because also we spent more time with our mom, and it was more our mom that educated us, and she was always at home. So we really have this same thinking of our mom and same culture as our mom, and we ate Korean food. So we really felt like Korean in France more than French in France.
And do you think that was the same for all of you guys? And like, what specific kind of cultural impacts do you think, like cultural traits, like what ways did that influence you and your thinking? And
we are really in a mix of French and Korean culture. But for example, I would say like compared to French people, we pay more respect to the old people. Like, for example, we would never say just the first name of an aunt or an uncle or even someone from the generation of, because you know, like in Korea, it's so unpolite. You can't imagine it, you know. But in France, people does. So yeah, we wouldn't do that. And also the family structure is more important. I think it's more something kind of sacred, maybe like something kind of holy for us. So I think also it's from the Korean culture. Yeah, there is many things like that, like small things that we do, and you know that it's not from the French part. Yeah.
for you guys as well, do you think that in all, were you similar in that respect of like, you all had a similar kind of impact, or was one of you guys more Asian or one of you guys more European?
We feel like we really have this mix of culture, because especially, for example, when we are with some French people, there is so many things which reminds us, we are not like that. You know what I mean? Like there is sometimes some stuff like in the attitude or the mindset, or you know, this kind of stuff, which like basically most of the French people used to do or think this way, and sometimes we are really different. So it really reminds us how much we are different.
Do you have examples of those kind of differences?
Je
suis curieux maintenant.
I need to be careful what I say.
Yeah, you have to think twice if we want to say it or not.
Non, mais vous êtes français, c'est pas grave, hein.
But I guess the relationship with the hospitality, it's really different.
Right.
I'd say like
For example, when we have when we have two meetings in the same day, one with some French people and one with some Korean people, for example, during the same day, we always put first the meeting with the French people, because we always say with the French people, you speak well, but you don't eat or anything, you know. But when you see some Asian people, you know you're gonna eat some good food, right?
You know, like French people, they can invite you in their home, but they will like not give you something to eat or something. Like they are not really like hospitable, or like I don't know. With Korean, you will never like have this thought. Like you will always like get out like with the food and everything. But in France, it's not. It's not the same, and especially I think we had like the parents of our friends, they treated us differently than other children. We were like really like
Some of them,
yeah.
But sometimes it's opposite with the Korean side. Like, for example, sometimes you meet some friends or some people and you want to have some deep conversation with them, or just to chill, spend time. But everything is so like paldi every time. So sometimes it's frustrating, because you see them, you just go, you go eat a barbecue, you go to the cafe, you go to take the picture, and then that's it. Bye.
See you next
And
time.
so you know what I mean. So sometimes we used to say we like to eat like Korean food or Asian food,
But talk like a French.
Why you talking
So
like
we stay
French
at the
people?
full table and we talk like for many hours, but with the belly full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. is like baguette and kimchi. Yeah. Right.
I recently had like 2 part-time, like one with French people and one with Korean people.
Here in Seoul.
Yeah, here in Seoul. And I realized how much like with French people, I feel, oh, I'm not French, you know? And with Korean people, I feel also, oh, I'm not Korean either. So yeah, I think our culture is really like a mix of both.
But I guess when we were like living in France, because we were with other French people, we were feeling really like Korean or like just a foreigner in general.
Or
But
Asian.
right,
We use
Asian
a
in
lot
general.
of like
Yeah.
Asiat,
Yeah.
like Asian people in France. We used this
Right.
word a lot.
But I think the moment in our life when we start to feel more French is maybe when we spend more time abroad. Like not necessarily in Korea, because we used to come every 2-3 years when we were a kid in holidays. But because they were our family, we were in the village, everybody knows us. Even though we feel foreigner, we felt really home. We were really happy and comfortable. But for example, when I was 22, I just left my job in France from a day to another, and I've been to Senegal in West Africa. I spent 1 year there. So it's like in the Sahel, in remote places. It's very, very like remote, kind of deserts. And there, I was really feeling, like ambassador friend somehow, because I was like, if I act well, people think French people are like that. But if I act bad, people will think, oh, French people are not good guy because he did that, So that means French people are like that. So I was feeling more this responsibility. And also, like, during this travel we did, there is so many country or place we've been to, they never met like some Western people, or sometime because we do some documentary on some traditional ways of life. So we used to go to some very remote places. So there is some guys, they never ever met any foreigner. So whatever you do or say, your attitude, even the social gesture, we felt it's really important because there is a huge impact.
I feel that often as well when, like, for example, Pakistan has this kind of, depending on where you are in the media, it's a big thing. So then if you show them, oh, you're not actually a really violent, aggressive person, you're just a normal guy, like you can see people think a lot, right? So, wow, we're definitely going to get into those stories of your traveling. But
Also, I'd say like about our relationship with Korea, because we went like when we were children, like in summer holidays. So it was always like 1 month. And for us, it was always good time. And paradoxically, it was like really the country of freedom for us, because we were in also a very, very remote village, even more than France, like very remote village in Cholanamdo, between Naju and Mokpo. And it was like we could do everything, or we work, or like we were because it was always good time for us. Korea, it was a bit like heaven,
wow,
like paradise place. And when we go back to France, it's like only rules and like very strict, and like school or things like that. And like for us, Korea, it was like the heaven, the paradise, and we really felt, even it was like every 2 or 3 years, only for 1 month, we really felt more connected to Korea than our place. Actually, it was the place that we wanted to go, and we say always our motherland, our hometown is this village in Korea and not really in France. That's you see, it's funny because when we were children, Korea was the country of freedom, but now that we are here in adults, it's the total opposite. It's the country of rules. You can't do anything. You can say nothing. You can't really think outside the box. Even like this outside the box, like every people are so like similar and like homogeneous society. And even you go to the beach, you can't even swim for whatever reason, or like you swim like in the baby pool or something. Like it's crazy, like so much rules, and it's the total opposite of our experience when we were children.
Just shows the importance of perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the country changed a lot.
It changed
also.
a lot. It changed super fast also, yeah, because even for our mom, when she was living in Korea, her life was not easy. That's why also she got detached from Korea, because I mean, for her, it was never sweet memories, right? So, for example, she had not many food. She had a very harsh condition and things like that. So for us, for example, when we were coming to Korea when we were a kid, it was, like, for example, there were no shower inside the house. We need to go with take shower with some bucket.
Like the bucket.
Yeah, or like I don't know if we say this way in English, but the Turkish toilet.
The squat toilet.
Yeah,
Squat
yeah,
toilet,
yeah.
squat toilet. Because in French we say
We say
toileture.
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 Crazy.
Yeah. But for us it was the Korean toilet.
Yeah, for us it was
Yeah.
Korean toilet. Yeah.
And it was also outside, and
Yeah.
there was like a dog,
Oh, yeah.
and it was very scary because you go at night
There was
as a
very
child, and
dog,
it's it was like scary, but
like the dog has like a necklace like that, and you're in the dark. There is crazy mosquitoes and everywhere, and you need to go to the toilet. And
but it was
man,
really
it's
like
good.
the freedom. It was like very tough for us, but it was the freedom. Total freedom. So relationship of Korea, it really depends of our mom history as well. It's true, because it was like we come from a very poor family in Korea, and in this village you had a pig farm. And our mom, she was like in a very tough situation. And after, for her, like France, it was like kind of the hope and like the better place. And she wanted to get out of Korea. So that's why also I think maybe we didn't learn Korean. She didn't speak so much Korean to us. And they really thought of us as like very French.
Yeah.
That's why also our French name are very French.
What is it? It's François.
François, Stéphane, Michel. So it's kind
It's
of
really
like
French, like
old
very
school.
classical. Especially François and Michel is
Old school.
there is
Old
no
guy.
like young people with this kind of
Especially
name.
they saw like Asian baby who was like Michel is like very old guy and Michel, and it was Asian baby. So yeah, it was
But your family name is French, or
Philippe
Philippe, yeah.
from that name.
yeah? So sometimes people see. Well, I guess on your passport, do you have the French name and the French surname, or do you have three names on there?
Yes, we have like a French last name and we have two first name. But the first one is French, second is Korean.
So yeah. So if someone just sees the first name and the family name, maybe they're not gonna assume straight away that you guys are not fully white. But then
Yeah, that's why our parents wanted to do like that, because they were like, maybe, who knows, maybe later, I don't know, to find a job or something, like maybe it's better to have like first like a French name. They thought this way, so that's why they decide to do like that.
But also at this time, like for many migrants' parents, they think like we should like very try hard to be integrated to French culture and to be very French and have a French name and speak French correctly. And they think maybe if we speak like two language at the same time, we don't speak well like the French language. So that was a very common thought.
But
at this
especially
time.
the Asian immigration, I think. Like
Especially Asian.
I saw a lot of people, even like over origin, like I don't know, Chinese, Korean, like over origin. Sometimes even the first generation of the children, they already lost the language because the parents really want them to be like integrated. like you say.
Yeah.
Right.
there's a lot of crossover from the Pakistani experience as well, where from a very poor village, the generation who came to England, that's like the what did they call it? Something like like kind of a paradise, right? The golden like idea in their mind. You got education, you've got like all of these government supports. So the generation born in Europe, they're complaining, I got racism, I got this. But the generation who grew up in the villages with no money, they're not that bothered about that. They're like, I've got like, look at how far we've come, So there's always that distinction. Like my mother never complained about racism, never complained about any of those things, because she just knew like, this is where our family were one generation before. some people might judge you, but would you rather go back to the village?
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Or mom, she never talk about racism, or she never complain about it. It's more us.
She would say to me, like, come on, man, it's not that bad. Get over it. You got a good life. But only when you go and see, like, I didn't go to Pakistan until late 20s. Then I realized, like, okay, like it's an incredible country, beautiful nature, amazing people, but there's a lot of poverty as well.
Right.
So until I realized, wow, okay, this is why our family left. They wanted to give me those opportunities. When you're young, you don't know that. You're just like, oh, these people don't like me. I don't have my community. They're calling me these bad words. So
Yeah. That's true.
So where was the turning point then where you guys just said, you know what, we're going to travel to Korea, but we're going to go through 21 countries over 3 years to get there?
It's like a long process, to be honest. Like we didn't like decide clearly. Like for example, we never said between us like, let's go like this way. We will cross that country. We will spend that much time. We never even could imagine that, right?
You're not really like planning, guys.
This is more the French side. I think like just go
Spontané,
and see.
Yeah,
spontané. When I think about that, like when we were a teenager, our Korean grandma passed away. And it was really sad for us because we were really attached, and our mom also was really attached. So when we were a kid, before that, we used to come every 2 or 3 years in Korea. But after that, we didn't come for years because our mom, she didn't really want to come to Korea and things like that. So personally, I didn't come for 7 years in Korea. So after I was working in France, when I finished my contract, I said, okay, let's go. I will go alone. I have my family there and things like that. So I've been alone. And I think all 3 of us, we wanted like we had these sweet memories from Korea. We wanted to find it back and things like that. It was something deep into us.
I think between 3 of us, I was the one that disconnected the most with Korea. I mean, I had like this love of Korea as an idea, as a memories, and like Korea in the long term, but like really disconnected from like South Korean culture and modern culture with the K-pop, with Gangnam Style, with everything. At this time, I really like didn't recognize myself in like South Korean modern culture. At this time, I was kind of I had shame about this. Like many people jokes about me about like Korean, and they see like this culture and they make jokes, and I was a bit shame. So that's why also I think like I say more like Asian in general. Maybe it was more like American mindset, but like Asian or like the yellow, the Asian, the things more general that really like Korean. And like me for many years before this travel, it was like maybe 11 or 12 years I didn't go to Korea since my grandmother passed away. I didn't go to Korea, and I didn't really wanted that much to go to Korea.
But by the way, I think in Europe in general, like for example in France, there is often this, when we were a kid, nobody knew what was Korea. We were always saying like, this is a small country between Japan and China, this kind of stuff. But for French people, basically all the Asian, like...
It's the same.
Yeah, even though you're from Thailand, from Mongolia, from Korea,
your eyes are a bit different. Okay.
You're Chinese. But
50
after...
Shades of Chinese.
But after with the K-pop and the Korean culture, like even the cinema and all, it started to become step by step more famous. But still, I think there is this difference between guys and girls. Like for example, there is a lot of white guys. They really dream to have like a Asian girl. Because
Yellow
they think,
fever.
Yeah, yellow fever, and they think they are so pretty, more traditional, more respectful, this kind of stuff, which I can totally understand. But when you are an Asian guy, I think it's more difficult because in Europe there is often this vision. They think Asian men are weak. They are not like very comment on dit viril.
Very masculine, maybe.
Yeah, very masculine and things like that. This is the kind of stuff you can often hear, right? So I think this is one of the reasons why probably Jiun was.
I didn't
feeling a
recognize
bit-
myself so much, and at this time also I get more interested about French culture, because I say really in high school I say, yeah, I live all my life in France, but I don't know so well, and I started to read more about like French culture, French history, French food, and everything, and I get more back my French roots at this time.
Yeah, in this sense, we were very different, like in the beginning of the 20s, because he was more about like seeking for the French roots, and I was studying anthropology. So I was more into like all the other ethnicities. And
Yeah.
of course, when you study, like for example, I did a dissertation of a master in Senegal. So over there, I met some Korean people doing some humanitarian. And then I started to live with them for 1 year in north of France. So of course, when you live with all the housemates like from Korea, you have a lot of questions about Korea. So I wanted more to go back to Korea. And that's how in 2019, I decided to go hitchhiking to Korea. And I told my brother, Jisung, like, let's go. You can join me for the beginning. Like, just give me some, some courage.
Actually, I was working at this time like in a business. So when I heard his idea, I was just thinking, wow, this guy is crazy. Like, what's that? And I was thinking, this is really crazy. I never heard something like that. And then I actually, everything matched because I just left my job at this time. I just left from a day to another.
He said, let's go until Switzerland.
Yeah.
But in Switzerland, he told me, okay, Austria. Then in Austria. And finally, we went to Greece together, hitchhiking.
But at this time, like zero experience. Like we did the travel. We had
very bad.
We had almost no money, no stuff,
No jackets, no tent.
We didn't know any, traveler app.
Very noob.
We had one phone for two of us without even a SIM card. Like it was, and also when we start in France, it was after Easter, so it was quite warm, like in April, I think. But we arrived in Switzerland. But
Still snowing.
I mean, we live like 30 minutes from Switzerland, so it's it's just beside. But it started to rain. It never stopped. Like all the travel, it was some rain and some snow. It was so difficult. I think we learned a lot, but it was really painful.
Yeah, it was the beginning of the journey to Korea. But then he had to go to Senegal, as he said before. So he went to Senegal for 1 year, and I arrived to Turkey, and it was quite interesting because I arrived for the first time in Turkey. And as we told you, like we grew up with Turkish people. So it felt like not our home, but kinda country that we kinda know,
Kind of
you know?
close, kind of.
So I felt very, very good in Turkey. And I decided to just stop over there. So I spent 1 year in Turkey.
In Istanbul or where?
First, I didn't have this ID first. So I just started to hitchhike all the way until the border of Syria. So
Gaziantep.
yeah, in southeast. And then I lived in Istanbul and then in Muğla in the southwest. So I just spent 1 year. And after 1 year, I said, okay, I'm gonna go see my parents because it's been a long time. He went back from Senegal and he went back from Paris. He was studying cinema in
It
Paris.
was not planned. It just happened.
Yeah, it
like
wasn't
that.
planned. It just happened that we arrived, and it's been years that we were not together, the three of us. So we spent some time to time, like two or like the two of them.
Yeah, because when you see us like that, and when we talk about the travel, you may think that we always like together, but it was not the case. We are like very different path in our life and different like patient and
different cities.
When
we were
you
not.
were
it was quite different. Yeah, when we were kids, we were more we were very close. But after like since teenage, but since high school, university, work, it was like very, very different.
Right.
So it's more like a reunion, like reunited.
So I told them
this travel.
I told them like, I wanna achieve my trip. So I wanna like go from Turkey to Korea now. And they told me, okay, now we are the three of us, so let's do it together. So they actually changed my first plan and they say, okay,
And with the
let's
car.
transform it as a brotherhood
Because
travel.
we wanted to start again from Turkey because I stopped in Greece and he was in Turkey. So we say, let's keep going, like let's achieve what we start. But after June say, let's start from zero. I wasn't here.
Yeah, he missed out.
And especially not in hitchhiking, but we want. I really interested
Right.
like to have a car because I think 3 guys of
Yeah,
hitchhiking
it will
is
be
like
difficult. Yeah.
impossible.
I think he was right because we might be still in France
Yeah,
waiting
yeah,
along the road.
it's too
right?
difficult.
So that's how we bought a cheap car in nearby our village.
Yeah.
And they also had this idea not only to travel, but also like to take videos, to
Yeah.
take some.
So yeah, I
pics.
did a cinema school in Paris. I think it was also at a university time that I get back, like I get proud of Korean culture because of cinema. Because I discover really like the Korean cinema and with Bong Joon-ho and Parasite and every movie, Old Boy, and I really discovered that wow, this style I love it so much. I love it more than American or French cinema. So I really get proud and get interested back into like the South Korean modern culture, but with the cinema, it really like connected my passion and my origin, and also a bit about like esports and everything with with League of Legends because I played a lot, so I was like really proud that I said yeah I'm good because I'm Korean or something, and because of this I really wanted to go back to Korea, and yeah, this idea of travel, it was like really like good opportunity after my cinema school, and I say, okay, let's film, but I didn't have like the precise idea of it. I just say it's special moments, and we should film maybe for memories. Maybe I didn't know really what I wanted to do at first.
Actually, we were like looking at the road. Like at this time, we didn't know like much, big traveler, like we would do like a crazy travel or thing like that. So we had like not really experience except what we did in hitchhiking. That's it. But we were a bit more experienced than this time, but still. So we thought it would be like 1 year travel, something like that. But we start, everything happened. Like it was like, you know, the COVID,
Yeah, it's COVID time.
the war with the thing in Afghanistan, the war between Russia and Ukraine, even a war between a small war during
Tajikistan
not
and
war, but
Kyrgyzstan.
yeah, some weapon conflict between Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah, there was many things.
Lots
It
of
was in
things happened.
April 2021 that we
Yeah.
started.
We start during the COVID actually.
Yeah, during the COVID, during the lockdown, we just like
Where were you in the middle of COVID? Which country had you reached?
We cross until Georgia during the COVID.
yeah, Georgia. We were kind of stuck
Yeah.
because the other country they were all closed, like Azerbaijan, Russia, Iran, all the east road. It was closed at this time, so we had to wait that country opened.
We were stuck during 7 months in Georgia.
Wow.
And in winter, so it was first time experiencing like very, very cold winter, like, you know, Caucasus mountain. It was really crazy. But when we start the travel, to be honest, we cross like a different country in Europe, but we just did because we were like, you know, we can wait all our life. There is never, I mean, for a travel like that, you never feel ready. There is always something else to do, something else to prepare, something else to wait. So we were just like, you know, it's the time now. We will just start and we will do it, and that's it.
You mentioned before, like we go and hear more stories of that. You mentioned some deep things about like when you were growing up being seen as Asian. And it's funny because technically I'm also Asian,
Right.
but Asia in, I think, France and America, they think mainly for like China, East Asian.
Like
Yeah,
Far
yeah.
East, yeah.
Whereas in the UK, you say Asian, people think of Pakistan, India, Bangladesh. So I'm a British Asian.
Yeah, it's very different
yeah,
thoughts.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because we're the largest like minority group in the UK, South Asians. But then these whole things of in the Western media, in whether it's Europe, America, or the UK as well, it's still it was often a negative image, right? As a man, like maybe if you look at like black guys in the media, they were shown as like cool and strong. hip hop and these type of things. And then in the movies, East Asians, you're shown as weak or like nerds. South Asians, we always like or, you know, like something criminal or whatever, you know, gangster
Use
as
a
well.
knife and
You know, so
yeah.
but then slowly over time, I've seen a change, especially like as Koreans, where you said maybe that Asian men, like Korean men, were not seen as that desirable 10 years ago, 15 years ago. That's changed a lot now. I've seen a lot of white Europeans, people, like you see it more commonly in London and in Seoul, that you will see a white lady with an Asian man.
We don't really profit of it because we don't look like BTS, you know. So it's not the
Yeah,
same.
to be fair, actually.
Yeah, because the girl who love K-pop, they don't care about us. We are like to actually
This
maybe
is this funny story. One time we were traveling to Uzbekistan, and one woman hosted us during a few days. Actually, she's an English teacher, and she was really happy to have some Korean people at her home. And she was saying like, you know, my students, they really love BTS, like they are really into K-pop.
Yeah.
And they were saying like every day, we stayed like, I don't know, maybe 4 days or something like that. And every day she was saying like, you know, I really wish you could come to my class to introduce yourself. The students will really love you. And we were saying like, it's not really what you think.
Yeah. Oh, they hadn't seen you yet.
Only the teacher saw us. But
Yeah,
she
the
was believing it.
But the teacher, she told them that she had Korean people in their home, so they think about like oppa and like BTS or something.
And at this time we had like a big beard.
Very big beard.
And
Like,
we arrived, and you know it's in Uzbekistan. So after we were like, come on, she's hosting us for free. She didn't even know us and anything. So we were saying like, okay, if she really wants, we will do that. So we've been to the school. When we opened the door, salam alaikum. All the students, they saw us.
so disappointed.
You see the deception in the face. They were like, what's
Yeah.
that?
They must have thought you guys are Uzbek in Uzbekistan as well.
Like their dad or something.
And after it was, you know, really like uncomfortable. Like the teacher say, anybody has a question? Nobody talk. And we are like,
It just shows the power of the perception, because there might be certain people nowadays as well who like they want that kind of look that you guys have as well. So did you ever find that like maybe they like Turkish guys so they like you or something like that, or did people get excited thinking you were from other countries before?
Very interesting thing is like in Europe we like people look at us more like Asian,
Yeah,
and
really
in
like
Asia
Chinese.
they look at us like Western people. But when we cross like Central
Or
Asia,
Pakistani.
Yeah,
Because
or
in
Pakistani.
Team Chilban, I heard like Halmoni, she say like to someone, are they Pakistanis or something? And yeah, it's crazy that many people think also I'm Pakistan.
like in Central Asia, people they just thought that we are also Central Asian. Like we can be Kazakh or Uzbek or Kyrgyz. It can be.
actually, it's we were really curious about Central Asia because of that. Because, for example, when I've been to Korea alone in 2017, I was living in Gwangju, so in the south of the country, and it was first time in my life I met so many different countries. For example, I was going to school, I met some Mongol, Chinese, Yemenite, Afghan, Kazakh, Uzbek, and all these kind of countries I never met in my life in France. So it was really first time for me. And all the Uzbek guy, every day they were really thinking I was Uzbek too. So every time everybody asked me, you are Uzbek, and I was like, I don't even really know where is it on the map. You know what I mean? And it really made me curious. And after when we were for example, in Turkey, everybody were saying, "Oh, are you Kyrgyz? Are you Uzbek? Are you Kazakh?" And after, I think it really gave some curiosity. Like we really wanted to go and see with our own eyes if you really look like them or not.
And it was true. It was kind of true because
true,
you know in Dongdaemun there is like some Russian, Central Asian, Mongol quarter. But when I go there, if I speak like in Russia, like everybody think
We feel
part of it. So yeah, it was kind of crazy because
Yeah.
they are like Asian but with beards.
I mean, we don't really look exactly same, but we could say, if we say we are like cousin, everybody will believe. Like
Or
nobody.
you know, in
Yeah.
Afghanistan, there is like ethnic minority called Hazara.
Yes. Oh,
Everybody thought I was Hazara.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
in
especially in
Iran,
Yeah.
everybody thought like,
Asian
you're
Muslim.
Afghan, but when they say Afghan, they think about the
Yeah, not
Hazara.
Pashtun is like very
Yeah.
Hazara.
But in France, if we say to someone, some people think we are like Afghan. People are really shocked because we have this picture of Afghan with,
Like,
crazy beard and things like that.
I can really see it. But also, I feel like when I look at you guys, I had that same feeling of Central Asia because it is Europe and Asia. We're both a mix of Europe and Asia. So I've been asked many times, are you Uzbek? Are you Tajik? Are you this? Are you that? Because anywhere from us, like between our two ethnicities fits in Central Asia and parts of Pakistan, like completely like within that. It's just way more diverse. You guys you've been to Pakistan?
no.
Oh, unfortunately not, because
we
we were at the border,
But,
and exactly at this time they had a small conflict, like Iran and Pakistan. They each other kind of, in Balochistan. So we couldn't cross.
And also, it
at
was
this
close
time.
between Pakistan and India. Also, after it,
So it wasn't a real option for us to continue through.
you could cross, but it was like crazy stuff. You need to be with some militaries and stuff like that.
But
It was not like pleasure, you know what
But
I mean?
we saw a lot of like documentaries about Pakistan and like
I want to go.
like
You
we
wanna
planned a lot of like
It's so incredible up in the mountains as well. That like, but you would definitely find people speaking Urdu to you and not being shocked when you like seeing you and just thinking you're local. All three of you, even though you've both got like different kind of looks. In Pakistan and Afghanistan, there are people who have that cover, that look as well, for sure.
we really felt at home in Central Asia. It was quite good. And also when we say like in the world trip, when we say you are French or Korean, depends of the country, they prefer like more the French side or more the Korean side. But there was some country that to be French and Korean, it was like the best for the both. Like in Turkey, they love French, they know well French. It was like huge link history and even in the language with the French people. But also they have like this thinking of like brotherhood country with South Korea.
Yeah.
So for Turkey, it was like very, very good. And he speak like very well Turkish. So it was like we really felt at home in Turkey. And in Central Asia, there are also, maybe like Koreans, but from Central Asia, we say Koryo Salam or Koryoin. And so everybody know like Korea, and it's kind of the cool thing or like cool thing to come from Korea and France, of course.
It's clear that having the mix, like when you compare the tone of your voices speaking about childhood and these kind of difficulties, I can just see how happy you guys are now. Having this mix feels kind of like a power that allows you to adapt to different types of people.
We say like maybe like this trip really revealed something to us that like to be mixed, it can be like really like sad thing or a good thing, depends of how we manage with it. And we say maybe we can become like kind of a bridge between like France and Korea and within Eurasia, and with all those countries that we have really a link. Like we could like, because we are mixed, we could adapt really easily with those countries. Every country we became like local people. We didn't feel like foreigner, or we are foreigner everywhere, but we can find home everywhere. So we are not really like deep in France, deep in Korea, but you are kind of like welcome everywhere in Eurasia, and to like adapt in the culture very easily. So that's a huge opportunity. And because of this trip, we really felt that we should like travel more all our life in this way, and like not get stuck in the country or to choose between France and Korea. But there is like so much more for us and so much opportunity about this.
It's a powerful message, very powerful, of showing that like when you're young, you said you're looking for a community, and that's human nature. They call it the wolf pack. You need your people, but then really you can make the world your community if you have this mindset of not focusing on you're different to me, but how can I connect to you? And like you said, they got excited. Oh, you're French and Korean. They want to connect to you back as well. So that's very, very powerful.
Like all those countries, it was not like for us just country that we crossed or we traveled to. No, we really feel like connected to those countries. Like when there is news, or often we go to Dongdaemun, eat like Uzbek food or Mongol food. It's become really part of like our food. Like our daily life, and we really feel like connection with it, and like we feel that it's kind of our country as well as France and Korea. Even we spend like just few months, but when we travel like that, especially we focus on rural and traditional place, and we just meet some people spontaneously every day. So it was very, very intense. So because of this experience, we are like never be the same, and we like become more like not just like French or Korean identity, but more like Eurasian identity in the very like physical sense of Eurasia. And we want to continue all the Eurasia in South Asia, Southeast Asia, and like all this whole Eurasia.
Yeah, you will find there's like in Korea they call it bandu. In Uzbek, is it a
Mantu.
Yeah, and we call it mamtu in Pakistan. And each way, like the Koreans have their way. In the Uzbeks will put yogurt on it. The Pakistanis will put yogurt and spices on it. So but
Even in Turkey, like
you got to try it. And everyone's gonna say ours is the best. There's the Mandu wars maybe gonna go in the comments. But yeah, you speak Turkish.
Well, I stayed like 1 year in Turkey, so I learned when I was there. And actually, it was very helpful for our travel because I learned Turkish for Turkey, but actually there are so many countries that you can use Turkish as English, like in Georgia, in Iran, in Central Asia, even in Russia, Siberia.
In Yakutia.
Yeah.
Oh, you went there?
Yeah.
Azerbaijan.
Yeah, there is so many countries that
even in Mongolia,
they speak
with Kazakh of Mongolia,
or Turkish or a Turkic language.
even
that
in
is
China
close.
with
Uyghur.
Uyghur or like
Yeah.
other
So
Turkish
we
minority.
had no idea about that, but actually, like Turkish and even Russian, it's a really international language. Like we had no idea. We never figured out when we were living in France.
It really helped us, like with the link with Eurasia. I told you before, like we really felt it, but even in the language, with the relationship with the people, that's how also we felt so close to those people and nation because they speak Turkish. So in Kyrgyzstan, for example, we really become like, even when we got arrested by the police all the time because they want like bakshish, like some money or something. And he say like, "Oh, brother," and he start to speak in Turkish, and like Turan thing, like
The connection between Turkic
Turkish
countries.
nation.
Did you hear about that? Like
No, not so much.
They call
have
it Turan.
But some usually they don't consider Korea into that. But there is some people, I already saw some maps they put Korea with.
Because there's the historical link with during the hard times. Was it in Korea, Turkey helped?
But even before, because there is also this. That's why they say Yongchenara, like brother country. But also some people believe that Korean
We have the same
language-
roots, like with
it's from the same
Altaic
root.
and Turan, and they say like
Exactly.
all community of like Turkish nation, and there is like even institution about like Turkey, Kazakhstan, and every Turkish state.
Yeah.
And because of this, we could say like for the police, for example, like
Who brothers down?
and start talking, and after they say, yeah, okay, and they give us like some candy or something, and it's okay. So we really didn't feel like French at all, because when we see like other French people, French travelers, they have like totally different experiences of this country. But us, we were like more like deep in the culture because of our genetic or face and the language as well, really like open the door.
Right. I think like our experience during this travel is really different because after we had so many contact with some traveler, we would do like crazy travel, like long travel like that. But all of them, they are like really white. And so the experience is really different. We never expect that. But
yeah, for the better and the worse, it was like just different. But one thing about the language, it was like in far north of Mongolia. It's kind of like Siberian environment when there is like reindeer herders, and you had like to go like for 2 days by horses, so it was very difficult and so cold, and suddenly in the forest we see like so many reindeer coming out of the forest, and we see like the reindeer herders, and he starts to speak in Turkish with them, and they could understand. And they say, yeah, you are free brother, you are French, and this is our name, what is your name, and everything. And it was so like crazy, this moment. It was like movie.
Not the same language, but the same roots. So they
Same
were
roots.
able, like for example, the number or thing like that. It was really,
Because
really
they were
similar.
like
So
not
they-
Mongolian people, they were like Turkish
Correct.
minority
We call them
inside
Tuva.
the Tura.
Yeah.
So it was crazy, like all the Turkish language.
That's where like someone can look completely different to you. You get Turks with blonde hair, blue eyes in the same way, but then that language, even in Pakistan, we have a lot of words in Urdu that come directly from Turkish as well. Oh, I don't know where the origin is, but we were in the Uzbek restaurant recently with Leo. We did a podcast recently with him, and they used the word gosht.
Yeah,
good.
in Iran.
Yeah,
We call it that.
yeah,
So then
yeah.
my brother's like, hey, we knew what they're talking about, you know, so.
Actually, I saw like an Indian movie, and there was like so many words common with Iran.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Even like the accent of the face, it was. But this is so close to Iran, and I didn't know, because for me, like India and Iran, it was like totally separated. But when you see, it's like so close, and
Do you also say Roda Hafiz?
Yeah, Khudafiz means goodbye. Yeah, God be with you. Yeah.
like
Okay,
for 5, it's like pasht or
Punch.
punch.
Yeah, so the numbers are really similar. You go like as you go, it becomes a little bit more like Asian or South Asian. So yeah, they'll say Khudafiz, but then they might say Allah Fez as well. Like so, then they've put Allah instead of Khudar, which is more Iranian, but it's still the same roots and everything. So it. But no, of course, for anyone watching this, you've got to check out their documentaries and content. It's on YouTube, Instagram. You've got an account as well.
Yeah, on Facebook as well, if some people use Facebook.
Yeah. I'm sure some people still do. But no, from all of your travels in this story, I think it's clear to see the ups and downs, I guess, of being mixed can sometimes be really challenging, especially when you're young. And even you said as an adult, Jiyun, like it felt sometimes you wanted to push away some of the Asian side. But I feel like when you guys take that initiative to really connect, I can just feel the passion and the joy of this. So each of you, do you have a final message? Maybe for someone they might be mixed, or they might just be interested in different cultures. What's your final message to anyone watching this?
Just one thing, maybe it's not a message, but like about the visa thing. I had to say like it's a bit complicated, because my two brothers, they have like F4 visa, but since 98 the law changed, because it was like only the dad nationality, but no, it's also the mom. So me, I'm Korean, like really Korean citizen, and I have to go to the military service in few months. So that's the final step of my travel, kind of. And to get back to my roots is like military.
You guys don't have to do that.
Not my brothers.
Wow.
In Korea, we are not even considered like brother. Like this is crazy. Like they say in Korea, like they say it's the only child of the parents, because we are. Yeah, it's so weird. Like because they changed the law.
Yeah,
So
in
you
a
will
few
go
months
to
I will
army,
go
yeah.
to the army. So I really see myself that it's like kind of the final step of my war trip, identity trip, and I will
Right.
become more Korean or
And
something.
how is your Korean, by the way?
Not good.
I'm sure after this, is it 2 years you have to do?
Yeah, 1 year and a half,
Yeah.
at least.
Well, maybe we got to do a podcast. And after that, to hear your experiences, maybe your Korean's going to be a lot good after that. But wow, that's very, very, very interesting indeed. So, but yeah, of course, final message before we wrap up from everyone.
I think I would say like seeking for our roots, and when we want to connect deeper to our identity, when we are like mixed, it's kind of endless journey. there is never a final answer. There is never a final step. It's like always something which moves on, and we, you know what I mean. Like the mindset is constantly changing. So I think there is some time in the life we can have like a lot of frustration, or it can be difficult. But I think it's really like a luck to have like this mix of culture. And even though there is some bad time in the life, I think there is a lot of maybe mixed people who are maybe watching this podcast or listening. And I really wish they will have like also a really beautiful chapter of life and really beautiful experience thanks to that. Yeah.
To be foreigner everywhere, it can be either a curse or a blessing, depends of what you choose yourself. As you want to be.
Yeah, I would say like there is no one answer or one model for everybody. Like everybody's path could be different, and it's also the way that you will build on it. It's like I think to be mixed itself, it's not like a good or a bad thing. It's just like a potentiality that you are different, and from that you can make it something beautiful. And I would say also like to travel gonna help a lot. Not even especially in the country that you are from. It can be from another country, but just to travel and to learn from the older culture, and you can like just build on your own culture, I think.
Incredible, really beautiful and positive message to end on. And I'm seeing this from your perspectives, growing up in like a very rural part of France by the forest with Turkish people around you. And there's Korean French, and suddenly this like Turkic languages and connection. It feels like mix of French and Korean. And you've ended up connecting so well to these like completely different cultures in other parts of the world. I think that is really a superpower. And I think it helps when you're mixed, but you don't necessarily need to be mixed for that. It's like you said, it's what you made the decision to go out and really connect with people. And of course, for anyone watching this, make sure you check out their content. It's going to be up on the screen right now. All of the links are going to be in the description box below. But yeah, I don't know which language to say. Merci beaucoup. Çok teşekkür ederim. Rahmat. Yeah, 감사합니다.
How do you say in Urdu?
In Urdu, we say shukriya.
Shukriya.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a real honor. 정말 영광입니다. Really a beautiful story to share. And of course, to everyone watching this, thank you so much for watching. We want to hear what you think. Do you agree, disagree with what we're saying? What stories do you have? Let us know in the comments below. If you did enjoy it, please hit the like button and consider subscribing, as it helps us to meet more unique, incredible people like this and keep having those conversations. But until next time, çok teşekkür ederim. Görüşürüz.